math friends. Today we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing fractions. Now, if all we were going to do is talk about multiplication and division of fractions, that's something we've been doing for a while in math. The 7th grade addition to it is that the fractions can be positive or they can be negative. And let's just review our rules for multiplying and dividing integers, okay? So we talk about that if there's a positive times or divided by a positive, the answer is positive. If we have a positive multiplied or divided by a negative, the answer is negative. Even if the negative comes first, if the second number is positive, the answer is still going to be negative. And then the funny one, where if you have a negative and negative, it actually becomes a positive. So these are our rules for multiplying and dividing integers. We're going to combine that today with our rules for multiplying and dividing fractions. Now, multiplying and dividing fractions always makes me smile a little bit because I don't have to find common denominators, which always makes it a little more pleasant. So let's look at an example problem. I could have 5/8 times a negative 7/5. And if I go ahead and I take a look, when I multiply fractions, I like to make sure that if there is a number in the numerator that shares a factor with a number in the denominator, that I divide that out before I multiply. So I have a 5 on the top and a 5 on the bottom. I'm going to divide them both by 5 right away. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. Now I can multiply straight across. 1 times 7 is 7, and 8 times 1 is 8. But in this case, I had my first fraction was positive and my second fraction was negative. Ooh, positive then negative is a negative. So my answer is negative 7/8. Super awesome. Makes you smile. Combining those two ideas into one. And it's fine to wait to think about whether it's positive or negative at the end. If I take a look at another example, I might have 6/5, and I'm going to multiply it this time by 7/12. And this time, they're both going to be negative, okay? So if I take a look, I'm going to look at my top and my bottom. I have a 5 and a 7. They don't share any common factors, but 6 and 12, they share a common factor of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and do 12 divided by 6 gives me a 2, and 6 divided by 6 gives me a 1. And then I'm going to multiply 1 times 7. Look at, I'm kind of just ignoring my signs right now. 1 times 7 is 7. 5 times 2 is 10. And then I take a look. I had a negative and a negative. A negative times a negative should give me a positive. This answer is positive. It's just 7/10. That's it. Super happy combining everything you learned before about multiplying and dividing fractions with the positive and negative integer stuff. Let's do one more because we didn't do a division one, right? Let's try that. So what if I had 1/3 divided by negative 4/7? Okay? When I do division, I follow my rules that I've had in the past. I leave my first fraction alone. I change my division sign to multiply, and I take the reciprocal of my second fraction, so it's going to be a negative 7/4. Okay? Sometimes in the past I've heard people say stop, op, change the operation, flop, as a way to help themselves remember it. So here now I just have multiplication just like up here. 1 times 7 is 7, and 3 times 4 is 12. This one's positive, this one's negative. If I have a positive and a negative, I can go back up here. Positive, negative should give me a negative answer, so my answer should be negative 7/12. Same division rules that we've used in the past. You guys, super happy. It's super awesomeness when you can combine your rules for multiplying and dividing fractions with your positive and negative integer rules. Super good work.